Okay, Houston, we have a problem. I took 14 minutes to explain something here using the audio and my ZV1, Sony ZV1. I plugged in the microphone, and of course, it didn't take anything. So, what I was pretty much doing here, I'm just gonna voice over, is talking about the story of Kwanzaa. I started off saying Happy Kwanzaa to everybody. But we essentially kind of delve into in this video a little bit about the Columbia professor John McWhorter and the story of Kwanzaa. So he essentially says in a December 2010 article that Kwanzaa should not really be utilizing Swahili as the language that it seeks to empower or to sort of. John McWhorter pretty much says that because Kwanzaa was created as a holiday by a lot of Black Power movement theologists and professors, that essentially we shouldn't be using the Swahili language in to celebrate Kwanzaa because most of our ancestors are not from East Africa. And essentially Swahili is this East African language that I think it was maybe cherry picked, and so he's saying that we should be instead using a language like Twe, which is spoken in East African countries. And so pretty much he said that they spoke a language like Twe, and they spoke languages like Congo, and the languages like Igbo. So many of our ancestors spoke languages like Yoruba. And he goes on, and there are quite a few of him, but Swahili is one of about 1,000 African languages, and it pretty much is not really something that would have been utilized in by our ancestors. So that he's pretty much. But I do say in this video that I think that John McWhorter has been a controversial person because, and I kind of delve into a personal story here. I kind of came across John McWhorter and his philosophies, and he's a linguist at Columbia University. And he's a Black guy. So I saw him kind of explaining languages and linguistics at the Harper Woods Library when I was like a teenager. And, I was just like, oh my gosh, he's a, fellow nerd who's really into languages and he really gets it. So essentially, I really started reading his books, and I love all of his perspectives on language and languages, language acquisition, and whatnot. But then, fast forward to 2015, I met John McWhorter at the Polyglot Conference in New York City. And, he pretty much, I asked for his autograph, and there were a bunch of people getting his autograph because he was a featured speaker and he was talking about linguistics. And he literally put his finger up to me, and he's just like, 1 minute, it kind of motioning like 1 minute. I think I motioned like this in the video, but it was just really off-putting. And for me to kind of meet one of my heroes or somebody that I admired, also being a Black person in this space where there's not a whole lot of us, really. But then, also he has been, he recently wrote a book talking about woke politics, and, I just really disagree with him on a lot of, cultural things. So like, yes, he's great at linguistics, but I think that when he's in his realm and when he sticks to that, it's definitely, it's great. And, so I pretty much explain here, and I'm really mad that the audio just disappeared from this video. So hence I'm doing the voiceover. So John McWhorter says in this 2010 article that, we should be studying Twe. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is spend the rest of the video just kind of talking about Twe and also talking about Swahili, and then kind of explaining a little bit more about Kwanzaa and its history. So, all right, without further ado, we're going to dive right into the actual matched up audio for the video and my explanations on Twe, Swahili, and Kwanzaa. Thank you. So the languages we should be embracing during Kwanzaa are actually Ghanaian languages like Twi. So that is one of the languages that was not actually profiled in my African language series. So I am going to actually talk about Kwanzaa, but we're also going to kind of give a little introduction into Twi to kind of go down this rabbit hole of what John McWhorter says that historically we should be exploring, as a African celebration during the harvest time for Kwanzaa. So here are some basic Twe phrases. So akwaba, which is welcome. And then you would say, I welcome you, which is mima wo akwaba. And then we welcome you is yima wo akwaba. The next phrase is etisin, which is how are you or how's it going? Etisin, etisin. And then you would respond to that, me hoye, which is I am well. And then our last phrase, we're going to keep it simple, midase, which is thank you. All right, so that has been Twi, and those are some basic phrases. Habari, and you would say happy Kwanzaa in Swahili is heri za Kwanzaa. But we still want to at least explore a little of Swahili because it is Kwanzaa, and we're going to talk about those words that really have so much meaning around this time of year. And so I just want to kind of mention that Karinga, the founder of Kwanzaa, he says the name Kwanzaa actually derives from a Swahili phrase, which is matunda ya Kwanzaa, which means first fruits. Kwanzaa was established in 1966 in the United States by Dr. Maulana Karinga, and he was a professor of Black Studies at California State University, and he essentially wanted to bring the African American community together and celebrating Kwanzaa. So the 7 principles of Kwanzaa are umoja, kujichakalia, ujima, ujamaa, nia, kuumba, and imani. So those are 7. And their meanings are, so umoja, it means unity, and it represents building and maintaining strong relationships between family and the community. Kujichakalia, self-determination. I remember that from my 6th grade musical Christmas performance. Ujima, which means collective work and responsibility, and it promotes well-being of the community as one. Ujaama represents cooperative. Ujaama, this represents cooperative economics, meaning to build businesses within the community in order to further the economic prosperity of a community. Nia, it means purpose, and it promotes collective goods and development of the community rather than an individual level. Kuumba, it means creativity or constant improvement for your community and to leave it more beautiful and beneficial than you inherited it. And then 7 is imani, which means faith, based on a faith of yourself and the community, and that a better world will be created now and in the future.